Good afternoon. It is July 9th and doing a midday update, about an hour and change left till close. It's 11:41 Pacific, closes in New York. So, going to start with Bitcoin. Some interesting stuff going on. So, daily, I'm going to stop going into the weekly and daily as much on these daily updates because I'll do them at the beginning of the week and they don't change too much. So, especially on the weekly. So on the daily, though, I am showing that I think we have a high here that's really worth watching because it would, if we were to break above this high here, it will constitute a change of character in the daily chart here. So we will have a higher high, higher low, higher high should we do that. On the 240, what I'm finding interesting is we do have this double bottom pattern and we have been respecting the neckline. So we came close to it here with this huge buy wick, and then we literally tapped it and had this huge doji and are continuing up from here off of this neckline of this double bottom. So I didn't make a play here, but it's worth noting in the future that this pattern is playing out so far. Oops. On the 60-minute, it was real quick. So to be fair, that tap of the neckline, I don't know how long it took, but it was milliseconds, whatever. It was very fast. So point is we're popping up now. However, we are still sort of not breaking this high yet on the hourly. And I'm really just watching Bitcoin to see. I drew this line here as a synthetic kind of could be a reverse head and shoulders. And should we break above here, that is when I'm going to get very interested to see and to play this up to this last high way up here. So waiting and watching on Bitcoin. On the S&P, it's getting a little interesting. We've been coiling forever, and I've been basically staying out, still out. But I will say we are having a major buy candle on the daily, followed by a very large bull candle here, without really going back into a shallower pullback in to the coil than just if you were to draw it perfectly would have. On the 240, you could see that here, just a nice invert. But I think where it gets really interesting is on the 60-minute and more the 15-minute. But let's go to 60-minute here. You can see we came down and then we came right back up. And we are really approaching breaking these highs here, going back to the 240. That would be a really big break. If we break above here and hold, these were the last highs. Even this same high here is what got defended last time and pushed down. This was a major high, lower high, and so it will start showing some non-coiling trending direction should we break above this. Where it gets real interesting is on the 15-minute. I hope this comes through on the video. Sometimes the wicks don't show up as well, so I'll just keep kind of moving it around to make sure it's visible. But look at these two buy candles. I'm considering this a double bottom. A couple things is this was also done at the beginning of the New York Open. So this was somewhere in the first half hour of the New York Open, and this was done an hour later. So New York opening, this isn't some random time. Huge buy wick, followed up a big retracement, huge buy wick here. We broke the neckline, and so on the 5-minute, I have that drawn out a little better, or at least I did. And of course, NinjaTrader didn't save it. But what I'm going to be watching for is a return to the neckline of this double bottom and seeing what happens should we approach this area here. I think that would be interesting to see if it's time to start looking for longs, given that we had this huge, I know we're in the coil, but look at these buy tails here forming a double bottom with a nice neckline, huge break of the neckline. So looking to see what we do to retrace and how to go along from there if it presents itself. We'll move over to gold. So on gold, oh yeah, so I wanted to point out that I was a little gun shy on this. So first off, here's that double triple bottom on the 240 I've been watching. Here's the neckline up here. We did break up, come back. This area here is where I got stopped out taking a trade looking to long, and it came back in. But we did come back into this fib zone, and we did have, hopefully it's visible, this huge morning star pattern. Came up, retrace, two major dojis on the 60-minute, major engulfing bull, and now we're coming up. So there's definitely some plays to be made in there. If I go into the 15-minute, sorry, it's a mess here. Um, you could have played a break of the flag, and even if I got in after this bar, this candle hopefully shows, but this, we closed technically out of it here. We had a real solid close out here. Even if you would have got in right here, stop here, up to these highs, give or take, that's a twofer, and that's perfectly acceptable. Between 1.5 and 2 is what I target. So that would have been a great trade right there. It happened at midnight, 11 my time, so wasn't there to see it. And then on the 5-minute, I think I showed a super aggressive one. But if you want to constitute this as a double bottom with a return to the neckline, popping back up off the neckline and closing above it, and got in here, could have went even higher. Not trying to over optimize, more just looking at the patterns that happened after this. So here's that V-shape hook, some downtrend retrace, somewhat of a double bottom neckline, pop up, boom, close above. On the 15-minute, you see there's that little double bottom here potentially, and then a nice engulfing bull candle, two candles with huge buy tails. I think a close above that line there. So was that 40.86.5, call it? Where's that on here? 40.86, right around here. So this candle here could have been a real good signal too to get in. I'm more just trying to document what to look for next time, but I think when you do see a base pattern like this, double triple bottom, break of the neckline, return to it, coming back down into the fib, if you see a huge reversal pattern like this in the candles, morning star in this case, followed by some retracement, it's okay to start looking to get long. So that said, we have not really cleanly broken this last high, and we definitely have not broken this high or gotten out of here. So I'm not going to chase anything. Going to wait and see what happens. All right, let's move to the pound yen. So this one's interesting as well because we have some movement here. So we've been stalking this wedge, this rising wedge. Even on the weekly, it's showing up, and we are at the third test of it up here. And now I'm starting to look for short opportunities. So this risk reward right here is drawn of where I have a trap set if we were to break below this, but this was set a while back before we got up here. So now I'm looking at potentially other areas to go. So you can see on this 240 we had a nice rally up. One thing I'm noting for myself is I didn't want to take longs coming back up to the wedge, but I think it's good to remember that like maybe you can, because there was some pretty clean price action here coming up, but irregardless. So now what I'm really watching is on the 240, and same with the 60-minute, you can see it there, is this low here would be a major structural break of change of character if we close below this. It's much higher than my original entry. I think we could target much lower lows on this. On the 60-minute, we have had a slight change of character here. If you constitute this as a higher high, higher low, we did have a higher high and we broke below that. That said, here's that same one on the 240 right here. This is the real one to be watching, but it is very interesting to see how it goes here as we get going. 15, not much to add, but essentially, yeah, I'm watching this kind of upper zone, and seeing what plays out. Maybe we do form a double bottom and a break of this neckline, or double top, sorry. Maybe we don't, I don't know. But very, very interested to be watching this over the next few days as we are at the third bounce. And I am comfortable getting in short up in this zone. And the overall target is right down here at the beginning of this ascending wedge pattern, somewhere in this zone. We have VWAP right here. So this could be a real major move. And I'll probably be getting out along the way a little, scaling in and out, but that's it. Should we present ourselves to go bearish, that's a pretty big move down. And let's finish off with the euro. So we're still on the daily, kind of in this flag pattern that looks to be retracing of our clear downtrend on the daily. 240, it's technically in this uptrend, but well, actually, I would argue interestingly, what we've done is we've had a lower low, lower high, lower low, which had a break of structure, or sorry, change character. And up here on this last high, we have not closed above it. So we poked above for a second on the 4 hour and came back down. So perhaps this is a bit of a double, triple top zone. Not sure, but very clear downtrend leading into this. Very corrective price action that we're seeing. I did get burned a little bit when I took the short, basing it out of popping out of that channel I had drawn right now before I edited it. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm seeing now is lower low, lower high, lower low with closes. We do have this huge reverse pattern, but right when we got up to this high, we had a big sell pressure candle and we're milling around. So you can see on the 60-minute, two kind of candles as we tried to approach up, pushing us right back down, unable to close above these highs here. So downtrend here. We do have higher high, higher low, higher high, but right now what's interesting is maybe this is a double bottom or double top forming right here with the neckline being right here, give or take. And oops, and that's really worth watching as well. And on the 15-minute, here it is again. This could be a double top pattern with a major neckline here. So certainly going to be watching the euro, watching the and as well as the S&P 500 to see if we break high, and the euro to see if this truly is a double top in which we come out of this flag corrective pattern or this daily flag pattern and start to trend downward more significantly. Okay, I think that wraps it up for the day. Oh, one last one, oil. So with oil, it's very interesting on the daily. You know, we had that pop up where we definitely have an engulfing bearish one down, higher high, higher low, higher high on the 4 hour, but we have this corrective downtrend that we're in now. It's pretty clean on the 60-minute that it's lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Not sure, should we be in a reversal pattern zone of interest? You could see this was major support area. We're sort of starting to enter. The fibs would put us back down this high volume area here. On the 15-minute, not seeing much to get excited about. So really just watching to see if this is retractive and whether or not we pull into this zone of previous highs as a zone of interest. And what happens here, you see we kind of bounced around, or again, back down into this high volume area here would be into the fibs. So, all right, thanks for listening. If you're one of the few people who watch the channel, which is nobody so far, but that's okay. This is more about my journal. And thank you.